I figured out what my ideal superpower would be.
What's that?
It would be that once I put these earphones on and started talking to this microphone, that only, even if there were other people in the room, like they wouldn't be able to hear me unless they also had the earphones on.
That's your superpower?
Yeah, I think that that would be like so cool. I haven't fully figured out why yet, but I feel like it would just be so powerful.
It would be, because then in order to be in Jamie's head and have Jamie speak to us, we would need to look like we're gamers.
That doesn't mean they're in my head. It's just the words that come out. That's way too much for anybody, I feel.
But for you to be in people's heads?
For me to be in other people's heads.
I laugh quite drastically at that because I understand what's in your head to an extent. We've known each other now for a little bit.
I tell you all of my thoughts and feelings, and you see me lose my shit like at least 2 to 3 times a week. I get it. It's totally fine. And then you're just like, yeah, let me scream too, and then it's fine.
Because Mercury's in retrograde.
It's always the moon. I love blaming the moon and not myself.
Hey, friends, we are fearless. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Frances Young. This is the first intro you've ever heard. You're fucking fearless. Thank you for finding this podcast and choosing to hit play. My name is Frances, and we are here in season 6. We are here after 2 years of creating a podcast, and somehow we're still doing the thing. Welcome, or welcome back. And there's 2 things I need you to know in this short little let's get going moment. First thing, if you do not know what your human design energy type is, use my website. It's in the show notes. I'm not going to say it. You're going to find an area to put in some information. It's going to spit out a human design graph. You're going to use your birth information. Go text your mom. You're going to know what your human design is. If you've looked at them before and you still are like, I don't know what the fuck this means, that's fine. It's okay. You're going to learn more about yourself by listening to any season in this podcast, as well as season 6. If you're still like looking at it and you're like, why do I need to know this? In this season specifically is going to be about, yes, learning about your energy and your design, but throwing all of the things that you know out the window about your health and coming down to an episode and listening to someone who is a medical astrologer and looking at yourself a little differently than you did yesterday. You could listen to an episode where I'm just rambling with one of my besties, Jamie, about why we hate the health and fitness industry so much. I love my job, my industry, and its constructs of how we think things should sell and what is important by mass media actually is making us feel more unfit and more unworthy. Fuck that. I want this to be a place where you can come and listen per week and be awed and that you are fearless doing whatever the hell you do with your life. If you feel the most authentically energized in your body today, you're probably living your design quite, to you. The number 2 thing that I only care that you know about and why you're here on this podcast is that you are fearless. If there's information about your health and your journey and your wellness and your life that you are meant to take from this, fuck yeah. Fantastic. If you're just meant to hear to have a laugh today, also awesome. Also awesome. We are going to get up into this episode of season 6 of This Fearless Life. And I thank you for being here today. I'm going to take another sip of my coffee because I want it.
I want it that way. That was so sultry.
I knew you were going to come up with a song. Yes. Okay.
I did not make up that song.
Because you were going to sing.
You're a terrible 90s person if you don't know that that's the Backstreet Boys. Or in sync. I can never tell the difference.
Thank God I was born in the 90s. Thank God you were born in the 90s. I just had a hot second of, oh shit, you're an 80s baby. And then I realized you're not.
I'm going to be 35 next week. Okay, do your thing.
Hey, friends. We are fearless. Welcome to the podcast. Let's just jump right in. Jamie Glassman is back.
I knew that if I looked directly at you, I would make you laugh. That I was like, I can't give you eye contact right now while you're doing the serious part of your podcast. The rest of this will just be me losing my mind. It's fine.
The serious sentence of just introducing the moment of the podcast. We did it in season 2, 3-ish, or maybe it was 4. You were my co-host.
Season
we did
3.
3 seasons. So now it's double, yo.
That's crazy. I fell off of that entirely.
It's okay.
I
also went off. Yeah. When can you be back on the podcast and sit on my couch and have blankets on a weird ass, almost spring, snowy day in Toronto?
This is so fun. I just get snacks and coffee and we get to talk and I get to scream into this microphone and get mad at the things you say.
The first question or vibe of this podcast today is just to update people on what we've been up to.
Yeah.
We went on a trip together.
Our friendship went to another level.
It did.
I was going to say that you already gave away the punch. That's fine.
I'm going to bring it up because she's been inspiring me to be even more authentically just whatever the fuck's coming out of my mouth on a podcast. No. Yes, you inspire me. But I've been watching a lot of clips of Amy Palmer's Good Hangs with Amy podcast. They just keep coming up on my feed right now. Now my algorithm's going to pick up.
You said it wasn't me that was inspiring you. I lost interest entirely.
Amy brings on, because we know Amy's funny as shit, but
Listen up to Jamie. It's fine.
she brings on whoever she brings on. And half of it is them just like laughing at funny shit that they talk about.
That's
About
what was
their
so
life.
fun about our podcast episodes in the past.
Here we are about to riff with each other and the fact that now everyone knows we've been on a trip together.
Yeah. It
And
was so fun. What do you want to talk about it?
the fact that we didn't kill each other.
We were like a little bit worried about that, but I think we both were all honestly like weirdly excited about it and knew that wasn't going to be the case. We're both passionate people. One of us more volatile than the other. It's spoiler alert, it's me. I was like not worried about it. At the same time too, like now I have like my extreme hyperfixation obsession with making hard-boiled eggs. So it's
My next note of thinking about, okay, how could we say something cool about this trip is what came out of it post-trip with things you do when, you know, you get exposed to somebody else's thing that they do or lifestyle, whatever. You took on hard-boiling eggs in a very particular way because I hard-boil eggs I had one this morning.
people are like, what's new? And I'm like, nothing. I just hard-boiled eggs all day. That's all I do.
That's it.
You have no idea how much of a like struggle this has been for me.
It's a serious struggle. I was shown, it was a few years ago now, how to do them the right amount of runny thread and no gray ring ever.
I know. I'm so impressed with it. It's the beautiful strategy. We will not waste time going through an egg tutorial right now.
No.
What I also learned from like that trip is that letting you take the lead on social stuff was so wonderful for me because I feel like I'm always the person that, especially if it's something where I'm like pseudo hosting, where I feel like I have to like take care of or be responsible for people. But what was so great is I could just like Jesus take the wheel and know that we were just going to have our moments and be able to see each other at our highs and our lows. Anytime like you'd talk to people, I was like, you go do that and I'll come whenever I'm ready. And 9 out of 10 times it was only like 2 times, but when you talk to people, I was just like, there were people that approached you.
Yeah.
If it were me that they approached first, we would not have had those interactions because I would have been like, why are you talking to me? And then you were like, started these conversations. And I'm like, this is allowed. It's fine.
Was I the star? In our second big interaction of a particular day, we met humans that were in 6 degrees of separation from you, which was so cool.
I'm a Toronto Jew. That's just my life. We were in the Bahamas. It's like a level of privilege I don't like to talk about. But at the same time, it's real.
It's real.
I feel like being in Toronto is like such a like small ecosystem that especially because I've grown up here, that like, and I don't stop talking. I literally went to a new hairdresser the other day because I wanted to meet a new person and wanted to try a new thing. And everyone's like, that's an insane choice. Like, and I was like, yeah, did I love my haircut? Like, it wasn't what I was used to, but I'm learning to figure it out now. And that's fine. Like, it's a change. Bahamas is an extension of where the people I know go. It's either like in Florida or Bahamas. That's normal. I hate how this makes me look.
It's fine. I'm trying to think now in this moment, what did I take from Bahamas and then immediately implement into my life?
Right.
I don't know. Naps. February into now has been all about naps for me.
I'm really impressed with your naps. Like, I think that was really like I like that when we like first got there, you're like, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm like, no problem. After the first time, you're like, sorry, like I need to rest. And then after that, you like never said sorry again. Cause I was just like, you don't have to be sorry about it. I love that because I feel like a lot of the time people like still hold on to that habit.
Totally.
I feel like I have to apologize for taking the things that I need for myself.
Always. That's what humans are like, just in general, I think, and how we're conditioned to be like, I should be sorry because of this because I think I'm affecting somebody else. No, honey, just go do you.
Yeah. And I think what was great about that trip, you were saying that like, you don't think that you were the star. I don't think anyone was like the star. I think we just had a very like even exchange of energy. And we just really, there was no point in that trip that I was stressed about you. Only when there's moments where I'm like, I can't help you with what you need help with right now. You're also have to trust the process.
We're also self-sufficient humans that are in their 30s that should know how to like.
It literally helped like also get me to get back into working out more consistently. I'd fallen off of that because of the winter and remembering like how good it feels to work out with someone, but not feel pressure to perform. That's a big thing for me. I don't know if we've met, obviously, but like, I feel like a lot of like my life is performing, whether it's performing in fitness, performing in like rehab, performing for my business, performing for comedy, performing for like people to like me because of trauma, where I'm like constantly feeling like if I'm not likable, then like people will leave.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that is something that even just us going to the gym, going for dinner. I've also learned that like I do have the capacity to go for dinner once in a while, but every day is too much.
I definitely realized that myself too. I was like, no, I just kind of fucking want to stay in my room and have girl dinner of fishies and hard-boiled eggs and these fun salads that, hey, you know what? Next week, I'm going to implement your cool salad idea.
Oh my God, you mean making the salad in the salad container?
Yeah.
It saves so much Tupperware.
Sure.
I feel like we're housewives in the 1980s.
We realized we had a great 6 days and it feels like a fucking long time ago now.
I feel like we grew a lot together. I'm still waiting for my like physical growth spurt, but emotionally we grew.
Emotionally, we got through it and made great memories in the Bahamas together.
It was very fun.
Let's segue into, we've caught people up on a cool thing that happened that was a progression of our relationship. This episode's going to be a little bit more down the health fitness route for us because if you haven't noticed, and about this podcast, I am a personal trainer, stretch therapist, and human design expert. Jamie, let's remind everyone what you do for a living.
I am the movement maven kinesiology. I am a kinesiologist that specializes in chronic pain and illness management and helps make exercise accessible for people that haven't found ways to make exercise a healthy part of their life, especially for those that have had previous struggles with attention, neurodivergence, eating disorders, or like just unhealthy relationships with their bodies. I want to help make it feel safe for people to exercise and to enjoy their life and manage their health in a way that makes sense for them without feeding into all the nonsense.
Because there's a lot of nonsense.
Nonsense. It only makes me scream in my car every day.
And I've witnessed you screaming in your car. It's quite funny.
That was different. I did a rap, and that was because everybody was annoying.
That's you still mad at everybody, though.
That's true.
We both work in health and fitness, and we both see a lot of different people every day, but the same people week to week. We see themes. We see themes of what is going on in our world, collectively, what people are saying if they're chronically tired because we just had daylight savings or all of these things that what are different experiences that clients could say at a time of year. What is a theme that people in your client world are going through right now?
That's a great question. A big theme that I'm working on with a lot of my clients, especially this year, is being able to get real with showing up in their body. And it's scary to get to that point, but a lot of people hire professionals because they want to fix a problem. They want to address a problem. They have a specific goal. A lot of the time, they're not willing to face their own life and what they're doing consistently. A conversation I have with people all the time, especially when they're getting frustrated with stalls in their progress, symptoms or sensations that come up that they feel like is a setback, which a lot of the time it isn't. Or they're just not feeling consistent every day, which as humans, we're not going to. It's about how do we show up anyways? How do we take this hustle culture mentality and make it about being human and being able to still exist and take care of ourselves and actually understand what self-care is instead of the bullshit online that just light a candle and take a bath. You're like, that's a part of it. But it's about being able to like manage like your self-regulation and being able to regulate stress in your nervous system. A lot of what I teach my clients right now and I've been talking to is about the things you do the most are the things that are going to impact you the most. Working with me for an hour or two, my earphones are falling off.
It's okay.
I'm
Malfunction.
just becoming like more and more of the coach. The things you do the most are the things that impact you the most. Whether you have an 8-hour job or you're retired and you sit a lot of the day and watch TV, or you're just doing all these things and you're trying to buy your way out of that accountability. A lot of it is really identifying, okay, I know it sucks that you have to work an 8-hour job. And that once you're in the groove of it, you want to get stuff as done as possible. We can't ignore the impact that that has on your body. I don't want to make that a thing that you're stressed about. That's something that I'm conscious of because I don't want to add stress and I don't want to be the accountability police. That's a lot of what we were raised on is take responsibility for yourself, sit up straight. Everything's an excuse. You'll never live up to your brother. It's fine.
You just threw that in there. Sorry.
It's always the punchline. A lot of my patients are going through is just really just seeing what is their future going to look like and how do we make changes now and stay motivated while it can feel kind of hard to be motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not my clients can stay consistent at the beginning, I find that it's really important for them to know that I'm there either way and that I'm never pushing them to a certain level of consistency because I know that when they're ready and they've gotten to that point, it'll come.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to reward there are different stages of change. Oh, I did this thing. And then I went and thought about going to the gym. I went in and just saw it. Those all matter more than those action phases where we're conditioned to believe that our success is based on all the things that we do, as opposed to there's a lot of success and that are sustainable success by actually being able to acknowledge that those different stages are also wins and important.
The mindset behind it, the change of my thought about how I'm going to think about exercise, my body, all of these layers.
Yeah. And it's it's also processing and being able to be respectful that there's a certain level of grief when you realize that the things that you're doing in your life are still a part of your life.
Yeah.
I try to tell my patients, I do ergonomic assessments, I'll do one-on-one treatment, I do training, I do coaching, I do rehab, I do a lot of different things depending on what people come in for, but it's really just about being able to help people prioritize their lives and manage the stress that they're dealing with right now in a way that keeps them afloat.
Yeah. And functioning in life.
That's a big thing that I'm dealing with right now is we're not going to be able to improve when we get to this point that we're not understanding that we need to do stuff in that day that we don't count as hours of our day because they're not things we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not our choice and we need to do it to make money. It is ultimately our choice, but a lot of it is outside of our control sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We have to navigate that. And on top of it, it's also processing how our body does adapt. It does need a certain level of discomfort.
And it takes the discomfort, it takes the time to be in the discomfort.
Yeah.
Which as a part of, we know as humans, we don't like discomfort. We don't like change.
Yeah.
There's the piece of we don't like that it's hard. We want the fast fix still, even in our way of thinking that, okay, I'm finally hiring a professional. Now this is going to be easier. Oh, wait, nobody told me this might be harder first still.
Or that it's going to change what hard is because people not only want the fix, but they want a permanent fix.
Oh, yeah.
If people don't act, and that's why I set the expectations right away. Things are going to change and things are going to change for how we understand this now.
Yeah.
Because we haven't been able to access function yet.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if we're just in this survival mode of taking care of kids, working also, managing your house, managing a relationship, also trying to manage social relationships, the activities we want to do. It's so much. I struggle enough to wash my hair on a reasonable schedule. It's a lot.
Fair. You got to choose what day you're working out and when the hair wash schedule is, time of day. Anyways, won't go there.
Yeah.
Biggest point that I heard to distill it down is what you do the most is what happens the most. That's
exactly
big.
I think that a lot is just being able to handle the stresses of life better. When I notice a lot of the big wins with my clients recently and the things that, and by wins, it's not things that I'm proud of. It's things that they're proud of, that I'm proud of them for being proud of them for.
What's the vibe right now? What's the success vibes?
Is being able to handle hard shit emotionally and physically. Just seeing how they're navigating life differently than they did when I met them is just so cool. And be able to be okay with where they're at because they know they're in a better position than they were and that they have the support they need to know they can handle the stresses of life with support as opposed to feeling like they have to do everything themselves.
And that they're alone.
Exactly.
To emanate on a success of seeing a client say certain words to me today who hadn't really had a consistent workout routine, but has been with me now for 6 months. She's like, I'm just so happy I'm strong to do real life.
Yeah, that's all it needs to be. I have a client that's just like, why are we doing this? And I'm like, because we're trying to make it easier for you to feel confident in your body. A lot of what I've been trying to get into this year for me is I want to get more into public speaking because I realize
here we are
on stages in front of people.
No, yeah, you're in front of me.
You're used to this.
I'm trying to give you some props for public speaking right now.
Thank you, but it's not the point.
Anyways, continue.
I love it. We love me. It's awesome. I feel like the more I talk to people, the more I realize there's a lot of things that I thought people just knew or got already and that people were aware of, but they're not. So I guess I got to yell about it more.
I love that that's a theme and that you're seeing the change of also maybe a feeling of what wants to come out of my mouth, purpose, and what helps you feel good and what you do for a living.
It's the best. I love my clients more than most people. I believe in them so much and they believe in me. Like I got a new client recently because of it's someone I sold something to on Facebook Marketplace 6 months ago. And then they've been following me on Instagram. Even though I haven't been posting that much, they have still kept me top of mind that like they eventually reached out to me and they're like, hey, I need your help. And now they're
Beautiful.
wonderful and we're having so much fun.
That's awesome.
It's very special.
I
love it.
That's so wonderful. Oh, actually, and what got put back into my brain, something I took from Bahamas that you personally in your job helped me with because I've been thinking about it on my runs, is when you corrected my form of how long my stride was for me because I run with someone who is much taller in their legs than I am. I think my stride was too big. Now I'm changed my stride a little bit. I'm going to fucking crush the Toronto Sporting Life 10K.
Do your hips feel better?
Yeah.
That's important to me.
I think my hips feel better. I also just know that my stride feels better for me because at like certain points in my runs right now, I'm like not dying.
I love that for you and my ego loves that for me.
I knew not something else out of Bahamas. It was that.
I learned how to like put myself together better as a human being. Not every day, but
that's only
like
being human.
How you do like your self-care stuff, and by that I mean like a morning routine and nighttime routine.
That's literally an obsession that I've recreated over and over again since university. It's been a good almost 15-year moment of trying to figure that out.
It's a habit. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Themes for my clients right now is the vibe of where a lot of them are currently. I've been working with many clients for about a year and a half for who's on my roster right now. They're seeing the importance of how much the consistency is in their routine to come see me. And typically a lot of my personal training and stretch clients aren't in maybe as much chronic pain or some things that show up in your world for your clients. That currently isn't as much of a barrier for them specifically, but still the barrier of their life stressors, their this stress. They just want to take it out in the gym, have a good time, be accountable. I feel like they're really enjoying their sessions right now, as I am as well. I can see that they're laughing, they're having fun. It's a removal from, but just helping them realize that they can enjoy their life and that they're fucking strong as shit. Next question of the day. I'm very excited for this one. I'll give the outline of the theme of season 6 because I haven't really given it to you yet. This question goes perfectly with explaining the theme. Is that with all the things that I've talked about with human design, health, medical astrology, and bringing things together, this season I want to talk to very specifically any type of health practitioner that's in health and wellness, yourself and myself included. Then also just going on a big scope of the first guest I have this season is definitely on par with the woo vibe. They're a womb practitioner, they're a somatic practitioner, breathwork practitioner. They are more on the esoteric side of how they work with people energetically. I asked them the question of what do you think is the next fad to happen in the health and fitness world as a general question, whether it's a new fitness modality that pops up or an old one that comes back up or something that we think is going to happen with how there's a new drug to deal with something that we've been chronically dealing with in health and wellness. I think the people that are in it, like you and I, and say this other woman as an example, we are on the front lines of dealing with humans and their health day to day. We're the ones that have the potential of what's going to be the next big thing. What do you think the next big thing is?
That's a great question. I think that's really interesting. I like how you said that question because it really just sparked something in me. I think a lot of what I hope the next fitness trend or next trend of like health is going to be is being able to enjoy whatever movement and exercise feels good for you, whether it's rock climbing or dance, or I think activities are coming back.
Yes.
I think adult activities are coming back. I'm thinking about kind of like the somatic training where everyone's scared into addressing their trauma, but that makes it scary for them to show up in their bodies because a lot of somatic training, for example, If people don't know what that is, it's basically like gentle yoga, essentially, to help you process and deal with trauma. I think a lot of that is scary and really hard to focus in on when you're also like in an emotional flare, or even when like
life stress,
or people are dealing with like also the fad of Ozempic and having that be an option where like people are realizing that they're actually in anything that is a crash diet or a high intensity fitness trend where you're focusing on losing weight, you're also losing muscle, and you're also that also can impact your function and your health as well. A lot of the time with any miracle thing where it's like, oh, this is helping me lose weight, I'm worried that a lot of people see that as I'm losing weight, but I don't have to maintain my strength and my function. That's why the weight piece for me doesn't matter. That's why if you want to lose weight, if you don't want to lose weight, if you're happy with your body, you just want to get stronger, like that's why I have a body inclusive business, because it doesn't matter if you want to get stronger, it's going to help your health, full stop.
Over the cross of literal lifetimes, we know that if we just get strong, regardless of how much you weigh, what the structure of your body is, you are going to be healthier.
And the thing is, I think the trend, especially with the like latest trend in actually being able, like so many Pilates, like reformer studios are popping up. And I love it. I've been starting to go to Pilates myself where I just get to lie on this reformer, and it's not high intensity like Legree. It's like actually just chill, and you get to like move, and it helps start your day and helps you move and function better. And it's awesome.
It's been around forever.
And it's been, but it doesn't, that
At least it feels like it.
I don't actually think is helpful in any way, because the fact that it exists doesn't mean it's going to resonate with people in the same way, because that's what marketing's about. At the same time too, when people aren't ready for it, they're not going to know it's an option. How it's been like, especially with Pilates and yoga, a lot of how it was created, there's a lot of diehard people that think that that's the truest form and that's how it should be done, which also alienates people from doing it at all. The fact that that's existed before doesn't matter. It's how it's being implemented now. My point is that it's being implemented now in a way that like you're allowed to show up and exercise and feel good in exercising. I think that that's what's going to be really grounding for a lot of us in terms of being able to show up regardless of whether or not you're functioning at a level of high performance and feeling like you need to commit in order to deserve to be there. And I think that that's a lot of why people have really felt, at least that's the conversations I've had, about not being able to show up and go to the gym consistently, because there's this fear that once you commit, people look at you weird because they like don't believe that you're going to stick to this, like, oh, you haven't been here before. We don't believe in you. We don't think that you're going to be able to stick to it. There's a lot of judgment and stigma around different types of bodies in gyms, and that pisses me off. What I wish it is that it's just being able to have more accessible options that people can understand is reasonable for them, whether it is reformer Pilates, whether it is different types of strength classes where you can just show up and do stuff that doesn't, and be able to go into a class without feeling like you have to perform at the highest level, and you can just progress and enjoy it and find what works for you.
That way, you took that word out of my mouth. I was like, I feel like there's the vibe of that when you go to a gym where you're finding an environment that cares for its humans and its movement in a way that just lets them show up the way they need to show up that day, because that's how they feel, that they're still going to enjoy their workout.
Exactly.
Whatever it fucking is. Activity, squash, Pilates, if it's just a strength class at the current gym I'm working out, if the people that are in charge are caring for their humans, it creates the reciprocal environment that the workout is cared about, that the people have fun. And then that makes everyone happier.
It's communities that are making a comeback.
Yeah.
I think that that's a great one. Like, I think just because it's a fad doesn't mean it's woo-woo or unhealthy. I think that there are obviously fads that are that, and that's where it gets its name.
There.
At the same time, like, I think that that would be my ideal, is being able to have those communities, right? So, yeah.
Mine is, of what I think the next health and fitness fad is a little bit definitely on the, not what is mainstream, but will become mainstream. It's more of what you've also been talking about, of people don't realize when they're getting into a fitness routine of any kind that they've really got to go into their body. They really have to understand energetically what the fuck is going on. What does it mean to use my core? What does it mean to activate my quad or my hamstring? What the fuck is that?
Also, what are those things? So I find that there's so much pressure to feel your body correctly that
there is.
Aren't feeling their bodies at all. And I talk to my clients about this all the time. If you're doing an exercise like a deadlift and you're not feeling your hamstrings, that's fine. But it doesn't mean you have to. If you're not feeling your body evenly, also fine. That's expected. Unless you're literally working on a single joint movement, You might not be because your body's doing a lot. So that makes sense. It drives me insane when people are like, you have to activate this, this, and this. Like, you don't, though. Like,
I very
really?
much choose the words not to use the word, we're going to do a monster walk to activate your glutes. We're just going to do a monster walk.
Yeah.
So you feel this as a whole, not just necessarily this.
Yeah, this is what it's contributing to in terms of your movement and function. It's like we're learning how to engage your glutes, but also how to step properly and do a full heel toe movement and be able to like manage dorsiflexion, which is that toe up movement, so that you're not just walking on your heels, but you're also not just using your like calves as a primary mover. How to externally rotate your hips and how to do all these things and how does it relate to our life and our movement. And we were talking about this before, but being able to, like, especially because I work with a lot of people that have had a lot of fear around showing up in their body as health professionals and fitness professionals, anybody that works with people's bodies needs to be respectful of they're vulnerable to start in this position, that they've also experienced a lot of shame and guilt in their own life about where they're at, which is why they're coming to you at all. Yeah. There's a lot of fear around that. And especially like even the statistics around like why people and the amount of people that don't go to their doctors, that don't go get help when they need to, because of that fear and shame is insane.
It's astronomical.
It's astronomical. I want to be a part of the support solution of that. I understand any person that's coming into me, whether I've been seeing them for a day or 6 months or 4 years, there's going to be things that come up that make us feel unsafe in our body. Being able to recognize that and hold space for that, for what shows up for them in that moment, and being able to not only respect it, but give them space to understand it, take more time than just one session to like work through those things is so important, because everything we're getting them to do is about showing up in their body. And it puts them at risk physically and emotionally if we're not actually respecting those needs, especially when it comes to people that haven't exercised or haven't found consistency, or they've fallen off, or they've had an injury, or they've had severe trauma that could impact their ability to show up. I'll stop using the word trauma. I'll use stressors that affect their ability to show up in their body.
I personally think trauma is also fine, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's just more, it is triggering. That's why I'm trying not to use it. I think it's also overused a lot, which also can devalue the actual experiences of people that are suffering with it.
Yep.
So that's what I try to do. At the same time, it's really important to make sure that this is a modality that we treat with respect. Teaching people to exercise isn't just teaching people to squat, teaching people to engage their glutes. What does it mean once they leave the gym?
This is what I think the next health and fitness fad is that there are going to be more humans like you and I that care this deeply, that start to be the ones that are, in air quotes, the ones that are seen as the most desired in our field, because our field is so saturated. The fitness industry has been saturated for forever. The types of practitioners that speak in this way, that speak in my way for the thing that now I'm getting into, is helping people. And for my own ability to do it is to better read them energetically. What's going on behind the scenes that I can't necessarily see on the outside from either pain, discomfort, or what they're just physically telling me. I'm getting into like the clairs of intuition, clairvoyantly being able to know something, being able to touch somebody and be like, so what's making you angry?
Yeah.
These types of things are and how a practitioner and someone like yourself and I, that is the physical, working on the physical body, are going to be the people that are driving our industry going forward, because this is what people need.
I love that, because I like that we both didn't tell each other our answers for this before this, but it's like basically the same answer.
It's the same answer, but a little bit different for how our world of how we work specifically. It's the same fad.
That's why we're doing this. If we were saying the same thing, then it'd be boring.
Just a little bit of a different speciality for even though you still treat people as well. Stretch, I'm more on the esoteric side because I just love that shit. That's me. You're more on the
clinical.
The clinical side, who can also refer to a sports medicine doctor, to this person a little bit more than I can.
Yeah.
Just because that's your world.
I'm more grounded in the medical system than you are. And I think that makes a difference in terms of how we show up, because I think a lot of people try to do it all.
Yeah.
They also try to show off how much they know and how they're the best, and like the information they have is the correct thing. Ultimately, it's about being able to help people feel seen and heard. I've been talking about this forever, and I think that that's so important, is you're allowed to go to people because you like them.
Totally.
And you trust them. And I think that that's something that's so underrated, because that's why I've struggled to go to fitness classes, because a lot of the time it's about whatever the fad is. It's about whatever's the correct way to be.
CrossFit. Fuck it.
Yeah. If you're going to choose CrossFit as a sport,
Amazing.
commit to it. That's great.
Cool.
But at the same time, like, it's not going to be the right choice for everyone if you don't enjoy it, and you shouldn't be forced or pushing yourself to do something you hate just because it's quote unquote the thing that says it's supposed to be the healthiest right now. A lot of what I've learned, even just being able to go to a fitness class once in a while, and I find that especially like the place I've been going now, I really like, and being able to host my own stuff feels great. Then I also notice I'll go into a fitness class and this nervous system response happens where I'm already defensive. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but
oh yeah.
I've
Like just being in a new space, and I can tell that I'm like, my feelers are on. I'm trying to pick up on people. I'm trying to pick up on the instructor. I'm trying to pick up on how the fucking equipment feels. All of these things.
Yeah.
I didn't realize a younger version of me was doing, but now, as a little bit more in tune, even with my own body, I'm realizing that there's a whole fucking lot that goes into the experience of what a health and fitness hour should mean for someone.
Yeah.
Whether they're in a class or they're working out at home, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. I find a lot of the time if I'm walking into a space, like the first thing I'm just like already stressed about is like, is someone going to give me a hard time?
That's the last thing we need.
Are they going to be like, are they going to be able to cue me? Am I going to like their vibe? Am I going to like what the class is? What if I don't like it? What if I have to pee in the middle?
All of these things.
Things like, I think about all these things, and like, it's stressful. And I don't know, I'm sure that there's other people that relate to that experience of going to a fitness class isn't just going to a fitness class. It's like being able to change your life enough to know that you can do something consistently, and finding an instructor you like and trust, and being able to also go in with enough knowledge about your own body to keep yourself safe. And I think that that's a really big thing that people undervalue, is that especially if someone's new, there's a level of risk in anything. Being able to go in and feel like, okay, and I teach a lot of my clients that.
Feel like a kid. It's okay to feel like you're the beginner. That could be also a new fad, that it's okay. You even said it earlier, to bring it back, of like activities coming back.
Yeah.
Of getting into doing something a kid would do, go to gymnastics for the first time.
Right.
Or to go play golf for the first time. It's mini putt, like anything that we can go do to be somewhat.
If there was like closer mini putts, that would be great.
The prevalence of trying something new and being the beginner again should be a fad in just life.
I've actually talked about this on another podcast before, about how the value of being a beginner is really just something that as adults, I feel is such a hit to our ego, because we get to a point where we constantly have to prove ourselves all the time.
We're just naturally competitive anyways. Aries rising, Aries moon. We're like,
it's against my will. Because I see myself as a naturally, like, I'm not somebody that enjoys being competitive. But I guess that I am competitive. I just don't enjoy it. I'm not someone that likes to play sports because I like to play a game and win. I like to play skee ball because it's just me and I get to be competitive with myself and maybe get a toy.
Yeah.
I love that concept of being a beginner, because just giving yourself that permission to be a beginner and being able to be curious and have that like childlike wonder can also keep us safe when we're in new experiences. And also knowing what spaces are there to be supportive instead of just to push you. I think that we're kind of moving away from that in fitness spaces, which is great. In previous, like in the like 90s and early 2000s, it was all just about, even now, like it's about pushing yourself like the most, as opposed to like, how's my body? I'm allowed to actually figure out, how's my body feel? How I'm going to feel recover from it tomorrow? What does this mean for me? Like, how do I know I'm making progress? What is progress? How do I set these goals without them being arbitrary and not actually aligned with us? Setting these goals as like a baseline to help us like initially stay motivated, but having permission, having them be allowed to change, got there eventually. As we start to realize what we actually resonate with. I feel like there's been a lot of stress, at least for me, about once you set a goal, you have to get to achieve that. You have to achieve, and that's supposed to have some sort of like value on who you are as a human being and your character. It does in terms of being able to be a functional, independent adult, but it doesn't in the sense of these are arbitrary goals you made up. If you decide that you want to change it, something else makes sense for you, that's fine. It's about, but are you doing it because you're abandoning yourself or because it just wasn't the right fit? I think question matters.
100%. Our next question is going to move into something that's a little bit more personal for us. What has been a more life-changing thing that you've seen as maybe a change in a pattern for you, that's either been in fitness or maybe how you feel in your own body and health, that has happened for you since summer of last year? How'd you blow your own mind in your own fitness life? We're constantly also the preachers in our world and to our clients of this is the way that we should be moving towards to look after our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We are bombarded by all this extra crap all the time of just how our world is so boycotted. Yeah. I know that I have to check myself all the time. How's my body? What am I doing? What foods do I need to prep? Should I be meal prepping right now? Should I have a nap? What new fitness fad am I getting into? What's something that's changed for you since last summer?
Decision fatigue.
In that it's gotten better, or you still feel like you're in decision fatigue?
This is going to be another whole long answer. Last summer, I really dialed in and had a really good fitness consistency and commitment. But the motivation there and the driving force was stress related. I did get into really good habits around running and strength training and being able to meal prep and take care of my health. A lot of it was also coming from a state of just being very high stress and like uncertainty and needing to
find an outlet to put it somewhere.
No, it was just about being able to just reset my life in a lot of different ways quickly. It wasn't the healthiest way that I've gone about it, but it definitely kickstarted me in knowing that I could do the volume and capacity that I did. Where I'm at now with it is like I'm being able to incorporate all the things that I was doing, but not feeling like I have to do all of it all the time. Being able to focus on getting my steps in, also being able to like still use running as something as an outlet or doing less, which can be more later if I'm doing more of it more often. Being able to incorporate Pilates and strength training and knowing that I can commit to Pilates for a month and just see how that's going to make me feel and then build on that with like my own strength training and then take a break from that when I feel like I need a break from it to just not have that consistent schedule. Find that if I have like, I can't maintain the same schedule forever.
No.
I feel like and I always wish I was someone that was like maybe more neurotypical, someone that could thrive off of something that's the same forever. I find that like I will like other priorities or other things take my interest and I need to divert my attention to that. I've been really enjoying reformer Pilates, running, lifting weights to balance out the things that I'm not getting or things that I'm learning in those classes that I want to address outside. But also I have a higher capacity that I can do both in a day. Also how to rest and navigate that. I find I've slipped back into some old habits during the winter as we do. I find that like realizing that like seasonal makes such a huge difference that I need to give myself some grace that like I did enough in the winter.
Oh yeah.
And I am excited about the spring and summer and being able to like be more active, which is something that's been really hard for me in the past because I've struggled with chronic pain. I've struggled with my energy. I've struggled with stress. That's why I do what I do and why a lot of people like to work with me is because I can relate to them as opposed to needing to be the fixed version of them, which is a lie and not real. It's not something that like that person is that person. A lot of the time, like I've been told throughout my entire life that I need to be the person people want to get to as opposed to being a relatable person that gets where they're at. And that it's this illusion that you can be fixed, that you need to be fixed as opposed to being human and having seasons in your life, whether they're weather or whether they're just like different areas of your life as well.
So-called being fixed, you can still no longer be in as much chronic pain or as much fatigue, but then still be in your own scale of this is where I am and this is a good place. Maybe what I think my goal is of being ultimately fixed, I don't even fucking need that goal anymore. There was a moment for me of just relating on this story for a hot sec. I even speak about it in my very first episode on this podcast, just if you want to go back all the way to the beginning. There was a point very early on in my PT career, probably in the first 5 years, I was heavily in CrossFit. I was heavily in a certain amount of routine. I was heavily in a certain amount of thinking about a certain type of aesthetic goal and trying to feverishly try to attain it. Somehow I attained it without doing all of the particular things to get to that thing of macro counting or whatever. I just changed a bunch of shit in my life, was doing what I wanted, and then all of a sudden had a body aesthetic that I'd been trying to achieve for 5 years and looked at myself and was like, am I even healthy?
Yeah.
And I thought that was healthy. I was like, whoa. So that was a whole mind trip.
For sure.
Yeah. I love of hearing you say this experience of what you realize has been a big change for you since last summer is that, okay, I did all these things. I didn't realize I could. And then now I'm in this place where I'm learning to re-maintain what I realized I was able to achieve, which is fucking great.
Being able to have seasons of our lives, like we get to this point where we think that we've evolved out of our initial things that we were worried about. But it's that whole idea where this is going to be the theme of this episode, is this, like, that being fixed is almost an unhelpful goal, because it almost feels unachievable. When you get to a point where you're maybe where your goal was at in terms of your health, things are going to fluctuate. Shit happens. Like, you go through stuff you weren't expecting.
Yep.
If you don't have the resilience to be able to handle those things, you're just going to end up in a position where you feel like the modalities that you did to get to this initial point don't work anymore, as opposed to understanding. And this is a lot of what I work on with my patients, for myself, is being able to know that they can always go back to their baseline movement and they're still ahead of where they were before. Whether they have a flare, like, I can't make everything go away. At the same time, it's about what we do the most that's going to impact us eventually. Like, the initial acute phase of getting into exercise, you're going to see changes faster. And then it slows down. And then it gets more frustrating because that you don't see the benefits for a long time.
That plateau.
Exactly. So then you have to add a new stimulus. That can be frustrating for some people because they don't want to try again. They don't want to try hard. They don't want a new thing. They just want to, like, benefit from the thing and be able to go back to how they were living. And you're just like, wait, but, like, hang on. I think that that's something that I've really felt good about and I'm excited about for summer. Just being able to, like, have more options and being able to enjoy my life and enjoy activities and enjoying being with my friends and my family and not feeling like I have to be so rigid about exercise in those times, because I know I can factor in, like I show my patients all the time, the activity that I'm doing all counts together, and how do I balance myself to keep myself healthy and safe.
My biggest thing since, sorry, it's still Mercury retrograde and I still have phlegm in my chest from my cough a couple of weeks, what feels like almost a month ago. Anyways.
That's related?
Pardon?
Mercury and retrograde and your cough are related?
Probably. We're going to get to the more woo-woo things shortly. Since last summer, for me, the biggest thing in my health that has been a change, one, I turned into a runner. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole of going on that, but, like, weightlifter turned somewhat runner of what I do outside of my dancing life I didn't think I could run more than 10K, and I've run more than that now. That's cool.
You run so good.
Thanks. I've got muscular legs.
Yeah.
They are not a typical slender looking marathon type runner leg.
Underneath this
blanket right now. Yeah, no. That's not me. So that was cool. And I just blew my mind on that. And I also had friend and accountability and just, like, the support in order to do that, which is cool. The biggest thing in my health that's been a big change that's then just ricocheted into all these other areas of my life is I didn't know truly, and we're still always going to figure out a new level of it, but what nervous system regulation was.
That's new for you.
Huge.
That helps on top of blaming the moon.
Of course it does. The type of stress you have, the humans who are in your life, the types of pings you get in your life, whether it's a phone or other things that keep us in a heightened sense of stress, a heightened sense of, I don't know what's going to happen, and there's going to be a big bad bear around every corner of my life. You don't realize that you've had a certain level of shit that keeps your nervous system in fight or flight.
Yeah.
Until all of those things are gone. I was pretty good at being able to be emotionally aware, but now I'm really good at being emotionally aware because my nervous system has a greater length of time that it's been at, let's say, a baseline of being calm, feeling safe, feeling regulated. So when it's not regulated, even to a finite level, I notice it and I can take care of it, as opposed to it being revved so high that it needs to be revved even higher, which then turned into more burnout, turned into more what essentially I could just say is chaos in my life, or things changing too much too often, or thinking that I needed to change too much too often, whether it was my fitness routine, where I was living, where I was working. And now life looks, in air quotes, boring, but I love it. And it's easier.
You're like the least boring person I know, which is insane for the... Honestly, snaps to all that, because that was really well said. That's something that I've been working on too for the last 3 or 4 years. Is I started doing DBT.
Takes time.
Like 4 years ago. DBT was life-changing because it's dialectic behavioral therapy, and I loved it. It's really helpful for emotional regulation, and that really kickstarted my journey with it. And I feel the same way. This year's been a big aha moment for me to actually be able to tune into like my nervous system, and I'll actually allow myself to not feel like I'm being chased by a bear all the time.
Like how you brought that back and you noticed what I said earlier.
Yeah. And being able to handle that. You talked about it now, but being able to manage that like nervous system regulation and be able to sense, oh, I actually know what it feels to feel calm now, as opposed to, I feel like a lot of us don't let ourselves put our guard down because we either don't trust others or we don't trust ourselves. This fear and this scariness of not having enough community, which is why I would love for that to come back as a fitness trend. I think there's a lot of communities popping up that are just like really just connecting people and giving people options to like have variety without committing to a specific modality. Even what you're talking about like how you were like a weightlifter that go into running, but you also do dance. Like you don't need to be defined by the activities you do.
No.
It can be a really strong part of your identity. And I'm so excited to watch you dance in a couple weeks. I feel like a proud mom.
Yeah. A lot of my humans are about to watch me dance for the first time because where the cycles of my dance shows are. If this happens to be the first episode that you're listening to, I am a professional flamenco dancer, and I've been dancing with my teacher since I was 13. We took a hot stint of about a 10-year break of dance from a whole. But for my friends who've been in my life for the past 2 years and developing a greater family relationship with them, Jamie included, some of them are going to watch me dance for the first time live.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. It's in a very intimate setting, in a very family-oriented setting, which I also just think is so beautiful. And where I dance every day in my studio. That is very exciting for me. Because
I've also gotten permission to cheer, and that won't distract you from what's happening.
Oh,
so that's important to me.
It's going to add to the whole experience. Now for our last question. Exciting. This is something on the spot that I don't know if I've asked you this before, but am I your most witchy and esoteric obsessed person in your life?
No.
Cool.
No, you're so like, you're pretty, for someone that is like witchy and esoteric, like you're pretty like grounded.
Am I the person that of, humans that are close to you in your life? Am I the person that is the most into that stuff?
No.
Cool. Fantastic. I love that you have more people in your life than just me. That this feels like a prevalent thing.
In my opinion, like people that are like witchier are people that have like that made it either their whole personality or subscribe to that as like as a huge or bigger part of their identity. I think that you have a broader identity that like we can relate to on a lot of different levels. That like I don't think you're like the witchiest, and otherwise like I wouldn't be asking you to read my tarot cards as much because I would think that you're biased. I would say no based on like my interpretation of that.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a very good balance between understanding energy, understanding how like our uniqueness and also like energies in the world impact how we are and function, especially because there's so many things that are collectively happening to us as a whole, whether it's how we react to the world or behaviors or trends. There's too much that is in common for it to be like coincidence. I think that like in terms of that, I don't think you are my witchiest or esoteric friend.
Love that.
You're, because that would mean that to me that's a way more dominant part of your personality, and it's not.
I feel for where I'm at with my own experience of how I speak about it, what I practice, things I'm learning, and which we're going to get into right now, is that it's so much a part of me that I also don't. My rituals in the morning aren't going to stare at the moon and putting my rocks outside every single day. There are things that I'm very grounded in the reality practice of what it is to live on Earth, as well as have different types of energetic knowings and things that I can preach about the moon as an example.
Even on top of that, I think like even in the last year compared to I think a year ago, it was like a lot more grounded in your identity.
Yeah.
It was a lot more of like your forward facing identity than it is now. Because I think
I was trying to push it. I was trying to like generate or be like, why aren't people getting my shit?
I feel like this has been a year for both of us where we're just like figuring out like who we are ourselves instead of the extension of what we like and we know, or we like or what we're doing or validating like our existence on this earth. It's just being allowed to exist. That's why I'm like, you're not like, it's different maybe a year ago, but like now like it's different. I literally love tarot now and I won't do it myself. And you've been like, let me teach you how to do it for yourself. And I'm like, no, I want you to do it for me.
There's some people that just want to go to their friend or pay for the tarot or pay for the medium. This is something that I'm excited to ask you about since I've known you. And I've known that probably I won't take all the credit except for the human design piece, because I introduced you to human design.
You did.
Yeah. Prior to you knowing me, you knew that you were a Pisces sun. You knew some things about yourself that were in the realm of astrology and tarot to an extent. You're millennial, you're exposed to it at some point. I preached on my podcast that this knowledge has changed my life, knowing my design, understanding my astrology, diving into energies and explanations of life that don't seem as though they are a scientific way to describe exactly what's going on with me.
Yeah.
How has types of knowledge that either I've given you, or then you also went down a rabbit hole last year where I was so proud that I knew I was a piece of that choice for yourself, where you learned a little bit more about your own astrology on your own. You were like, I get it now. You were saying different things. And I was like, go, Jamie.
Yeah.
How has knowing these types of things really helped you just in your day to day, whether we can relate it to health and fitness or just like life?
That's a really great question, because I was already thinking about the answer while you were talking. I was like, oh my God, I have so many things to say.
Yes, go.
I love it when you do that. Yeah,
Me too.
it's been really awesome about that and especially because there's still like stigma around it, which I think is dumb. And you know me, we've talked about this before, as like anything that anybody believes in, I think is helpful if it helps ground them to themselves and like give them hope.
Yeah,
I'm not like a big fan of religion for myself, but if somebody is religious and that helps them feel like they're more connected to like community and God and stuff like that, like power to them. That's awesome. I'm going to love that for them, as long as it's not like hurting other people or it's not feeding into unhealthy behaviors, you know? But at the same time, something that's really helped me is I struggle to like really see myself. And especially because I live in such a clinical world, a science-based world, just pushing, it gives me like a blueprint of like my personality and helps me understand myself a lot better, to have something external to relate it to and to feel and to resonate with. That's not just other people and other people's opinions of me or having people feed it back to me. It feels more like an explanation, because there's not that many modalities right now, whether it's like psychology, doctors, physios, like other types of like medical sciences that really help you understand your personality. It's mostly other things that help you cope. It's hard to really get a sense of who you are other than like the people around you reflecting it back to you. Yeah. I find that that's something I've always struggled with, especially something that I learned about myself, is that my Pisces is in my 12th house and it's trapped in a prism. That's how I understand it. It's probably not spoken correctly, but like close enough.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It's your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
Someone told me that, and then I was like, I'm taking this real literally. So like, it just helps me feel a little bit better knowing that it makes sense that like I've always struggled with being able to see myself. And I think that might be because of the information I've got when I was younger, or like now, or just not, or my own insecurities, that like it almost gives me permission to know that like I am showing up authentically. I am myself. Who I am is enough and good enough. It makes sense that I struggle to see myself in the moment or see who I am as clearly as maybe some other people think I do, or how they see it. I think that that's just being able to have something external that you can go to be like, okay, this is grounding. This is something that I can relate to, as opposed to having to conjure it within myself. Yeah. Is just something that's a really interesting outlet. It's something that also has helped me like feel more connected to people and also learn more about people instead of forcing people to talk to me and be vulnerable, you know? Do I make a lot of friends with like random strangers on Facebook Marketplace? Yeah, sure. It's really helped me a lot. And like, I'm really glad that you feel proud about that, because you should. Human design or astrology, or like however someone like engages in it. Like, I think it's such an awesome outlet, because I don't really subscribe to religion. I'm someone that also really understands that energy is real, just from a kinetic standpoint, from a science standpoint. Like, it is real and does affect us. Yeah. Having something that makes sense of it, even if it's not accurate. Like, we have weather people that don't accurately, like, you know.
That's a fair point. I only believe the weather if it's weathering.
I love that. I think that's something that's also just grounded me and helped me like really just feel safe in myself doing hard stuff. Being able to trust that I'm going to be okay. Being able to like have conversations with people that are vulnerable, but also you have something to relate to in that, opposed to just avoiding it altogether or distracting myself with other things. Yeah. It's really helped me show up in my own way. It's helped me cope with some stressful times this year. I really am a big fan. Am I going to go down that rabbit hole of knowing it to the extent that you do? No, I do. I think that it has so much value for someone to just be able to learn a little bit more themselves, just in a different perspective that isn't quote unquote therapy, or that just gives somebody a different option. Initially, when I was like learning about it too, I'm just, this isn't is this pseudo therapy? Is this trying to replace therapy? Is this trying to replace, is it like, it sounded like it was a risk to me where it's just, is this trying to be like the solution? As I got to know you, I was like, oh no, you're a humble person. That doesn't make any sense. And everybody at this point, not everybody, but a lot of people are like, want to be the answer, want to help people, want their ego really to be like satiated by what they do for people.
About this shit.
Sometimes it's just okay to talk to somebody and they can give you a different perspective that's not just personal.
Yeah.
And it weirdly feels objective for something that is so deeply subjective.
It is, because you can have a description of what Pisces means and what Leo means, and it can come across as, you know, the way that this person describes a Pisces and this person describes a Pisces, even though they're saying similar things, how that person takes that information, it could be wildly different and affect how they think about themselves in such a particular way. Leos are full of themselves because they want to be on stage and because they, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's a stereotype that has come across. Pisces are too delulu and they let people walk all over them because they're a water sign, because they're half checked out, because they're in dream state, because Pisces are a very dreamy, actually, because they are so actually emotionally checked in, they're just soaking up all the emotion.
And this is so much more than that. That's the
So
point.
much
It's
more
not
than
just
that.
like it's not just a thing. It's so much of a trend has also been like there was like the personality types.
Yeah.
Like the Myers-Briggs thing, which I think is cool. It's not just like being an extrovert and introvert. It's like being able to cope with life, really, instead of, I find that there's been a lot of trends around like just labeling ourselves as excuses for not being able to face our reality. Around the same time, I got diagnosed with ADHD and finally got medicated for it, which is my choice. I don't recommend it for everybody if that's not their journey, and like they should be making those choices for themselves based on their own experiences with that, and with a health professional for sure. I started like getting treatment for that, had already been in therapy for a while, but finally got diagnosed with ADHD, which helped me understand myself a lot really quickly. Also started stand-up comedy around the same time, and then also met you and got introduced to astrology in a way I wasn't expecting. It's nice that all these things became complementary, and I've found a lot about myself in very quickly in the last year or two, because that's only been in the last 2 years.
And we still haven't known each other for 2 years yet.
Whoa. When did we meet each other?
August of 2024.
Was it only that? Yeah, because I started comedy January 2024.
Shit.
I got diagnosed with ADHD November 2023.
Oh.
Yeah. So I like, a lot of this has been really new. So I've been like, I feel like even just in our previous podcast episodes, like we can see the growth, how we've like experienced life, knowing each other, going through stuff, like all this stuff. It kind of came at the right time because the moon knew.
And because Neptune and Saturn were traveling through your 12th house.
You got something wrong, you're immediately discredited. No, I'm kidding.
Now they moved into Aries. I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, you're allowed to. That's the thing. I just wanted to highlight that just because someone makes a mistake doesn't mean it's bullshit. Give them a second to be human.
Human.
Yeah, it's a lesson for everyone else, not for you.
I'm going to have my like circular moment to bring the reason up why I asked this question for you, and something that for me and the things that I'm into and who I am as a person is I just want people to get me. I think that's been a life goal / my own personal healing journey of being a soul stuck in a human body. When I'm into things that I'm super jazzed about, I just want to tell the world. It's just my vibe, because I guess that's who I am. And I really like that about myself, because now I embody that. When people don't get this thing that's crazy, like astrology and human design is just another way of interpreting our personality and why we do what we do, why we love what we love. It helped explain a lot of things for myself that I was like, people need to know this. Because if it helped me, then I know it's going to be so much easier for people to live their life like it's felt like for me to live my life, as much as my journey has taken me in different roads since learning it in the past 4 years. And there's stigma around it, just like there's stigma around fitness and health.
And mental health. And anything that's like a special interest that other people might not be able to understand.
Yeah.
I think that that's so interesting. I'd be curious to see what you've learned from me in the last year, and like how that
about how explaining these different concepts of the thing
like as a person,
and how I've watched you evolve, and thinking about also your astrology and stuff going along with it.
Like, I'm curious, like what you've gotten from me in that as well.
One thing I think that I don't know if anyone's ever said this to you, but I don't think I've said this to you yet. The people that are in our life are mirrors to us. Have I said this to you?
I'm aware of it, but I don't know if you've said it to me specifically.
Okay. There's a big concept right now that people are really starting to realize in our world. It's also being jacked up on media to a certain extent. There's a quote, people know that you are the sum of the 5 people that surround you, which I think has some truth to it. But as soon as you change who you are and the perception of yourself, the people who surround you change.
Interesting. Love that.
Your reality changes, your who and the energy that is reflected back to you changes. And my friendship group, my family, my everything has changed so many times since 2020. I've lost count.
Yeah.
The friends that have been with me pretty much since summer of 2024. So actually, truly, too, when I moved into this garage that we're currently sitting in, garage, cottage apartment, the friends that have come along right now, I have evolved a lot with them, but we've all evolved together in similar themes. One way that I believe that you have helped me mirror back to myself is this nervous system regulation. When we first met each other, I think we were both on a journey of that. We'll always be on a journey of that, I think, for our generation as millennials, but in changing that story of what it actually means to be and our bodies to physically feel safe all the time. Because I actually think that's what nervous system regulation is, because there's so many different parts to it: spiritual, emotional, body, and mind. So that's been a beautiful thing to watch you evolve, and then to realize in myself how that's evolved since I've known you, let alone like also in the past since summer to now, of 2025 to now. That's a big one for how I've seen our relationship and both of ourselves evolve within it.
I want to acknowledge that with this one little thing.
Go.
Wow. That's honestly so beautiful. I feel the same. I think this has been the last 2 years has really just been like building safety in ourselves and figuring out who is safe and grounding for us and who's going to accept us for who we are without feeling like we have to force them to. I had this talk with someone today where I was just like, being able to go through life and realize who's staying and who's leaving is not about winning or losing. It's about being able to let go of the people that aren't able to be there for you, but knowing that it's not negative that they can't be there for you if it doesn't align with their timeline. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're less good friends or they're bad people or vice versa.
Yeah.
It's just not the time. And like a lot of my closest friends right now are people that are exactly like you. My friend Rachel, who I've talked about a million times, my
Love
friend
Rachel.
Candace, like these people where we've just been through the shit and had our lows together and had our highs together, but we're still able to like have capacity and be honest and show up and have someone stay despite the fact that we've maybe been conditioned to believe that if we show any negative parts or like too like scary parts of ourselves that people will leave. It just helps me feel stronger and knowing that I can get through anything, because not because I need to rely on that, but knowing that there's people that get it and I'm not alone in that. I know that there are people that I was holding on to for maybe too long because I felt either I'd like this like sunken cost fallacy, or because I just wanted to make it work because of history that just weren't able to show me what I needed to feel like the most authentic version of myself. Then realize that I'm actually allowed to be this version. I shouldn't be continuing to make myself feel small just to make others comfortable. I just don't have to be around those people if they're uncomfortable with who I am. That's also been really huge for me, and being able to get to know you and realizing that we're both like, we were just like, like the moment we met each other. That never really stopped, actually.
That still continues to this day, and I think it will forever. But I also am realizing I have another piece to this answer of something that is
So special.
I've noticed for us, and how when we met each other, we are both still doing the same things. I'm still obsessed with astrology, human design, fitness, all the things. You are still doing comedy, still obsessed with your kinesiology world as to the way that you work with your humans in a more clinical set. I don't like saying, I feel like
It's
saying that you're...
Yeah, it's not really clinical. It's more bridging the gap between clinical and recreational.
Is that we're still those humans, but I think we are more integrated within the authenticity as to how our souls have been destined to evolve in as we get older and we have new life experiences that have come to us, let alone that we're experiencing them together. Watching each other evolve in it, but still find the new layer of what authenticity I think it's almost too much of a buzzword right now.
That's
But
the fad now.
yeah, that is the fad. That and manifestation. We won't go down that route.
I appreciate that you said it like that, because I feel like a year ago you would have been like so into that.
No.
But now you're just, no.
I
we
love
should do another whole episode
about
this.
manifestation.
Oh my God, I have so many questions about how you feel, because clearly this is a new.
You're watching me light up about my distaste, and I'm like,
anytime that you do, I'm like, oh my God. I was like,
I want to know her opinion on this.
I am so here for it when people have complex views about stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, let's unpack it, baby.
Let's unpack that shit. Episode 2 of us talking on this season will be about manifestation, folks, and I can't wait.
Me too.
We've shown up for each other in that authenticity. When I first met you, I felt like I was authentic in my life at that time, but I had to go through more experiences, more things throwing me off to the side, being like, well, are you really there, honey? Are you actually about ready to show up as to who you're supposed to be? I'm like, oh no, I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not still there yet, but that's always it. That's the life journey though.
Yeah. And like, we're always going to be who we are at the time with the information we have. I think at the time we both were just struggling to face some parts of our reality that were making it harder for us to actually exist in our bodies in our life.
The stress.
And that is really cool, because like we were able to not only support each other, but also give space when we needed to get through it on our own, but still know that like we could come back to each other and be like, hey, like this is where I'm at. I'm like, that makes sense. I'm not going to be like I told you, even though I love doing that, but I do it like jokingly and not sincerely.
That's Aries rising of you.
Thank you. How rude. I think that like that was a very reasonable jab at me. It's so reasonable.
Yeah, but with astrology, but with a loving connotation, and the Aries rising is blunt like that.
I appreciate it. We both at different points have been like come to each other to be like, you know what? You're not ready to make this change yet. Me pushing you to isn't going to feel satiating for you, or isn't going to be the right time. I see it, but I also have this, we both have had this sense that we know that each other's going to be okay. And then I think the biggest thing is knowing that there's other people in this world that like are safe to come back to, even if you take space from, because they understand that you're human and you needed to figure stuff out on your own, or that you weren't able to face it yet. And that's okay. But like, the more you try to force someone to change because you're worried about them, they're
go
going
in
to
the other direction.
It's about being able to like navigate, like not feeling resentful or frustrated or angry with those people, and knowing that there's always people there. I totally agree. We've been through a lot together
in a very short period of time.
And I could never have asked for a better friend that has shown up for me in ways that like I didn't even know could exist or that I deserved. You get to a certain point in your life where you're just, I guess I just have to go through these things alone. And when you found your people in your community of people that you can trust enough to show up and ask for help, but also be respectful if they can't show up for exactly what you think you need in that moment, but is actually still enough, is so helpful. It makes you also feel like whatever you can provide is enough, even if it feels like it's not enough to that person at the time. You trust your friendship and you trust like who you are as people. And I think it's a certain level of like also growth of we can still handle hard stuff, even if someone's not going to take it off our plate entirely. We can accept help in the capacity that other people can provide. That can be enough, instead of feeling like, oh, you can't fix all my things right now, you're a bad friend, you know, like that. I don't like this. I feel like it's a common theme of my life where like I'm being continually like quantified as good or bad friend based on like my actions, but it's also all on me, as opposed to
it being a two-way street and trying to get two to be a tango. I feel like this is a full circle podcast on friendship, where we are at our lives, the things that we hold most dear about health and fitness. We've gone full circle on a lot of the things that we're obsessed about.
It's so exciting to me to hear, because like you were telling me that like nervous system was regulation was something that like has come up for you a lot. It feels so beautiful to hear that like I am a reason why that was a piece for you, because that's been a big thing for me to know that. So that's cool to get like real-time reactions. That felt so validating, and that's so comforting to me to know that's something you've got from me. I think that we both shared that with each other.
We reflected it in our lives. We literally have evolved it together.
Yeah, we brought it together, because it's literally just like that first episode, not first, but second episode I think we did, where we're just yelling at each other. Is it ADHD or is it astrology? We can get value from both and be able to use that like however we want, in a way that like works for us and helps us cope in the moment.
Also, my own personal satisfaction of the fact that knowing that something that I opened you up to, I guess the world that I preach, at least on this podcast, and like parts of my identity with human design and astrology, is that even when we meet somebody new or we meet a context of how we can have a new modality in our life to help us better understand ourselves, that even if it feels super complicated and that fitness feels hard, it can be something that eventually becomes integrated into our life that feels important, that feels like something I can use when I need it.
And also can evolve based on like how you understand it. And once you understand your body, you can do anything and show up for yourself. But it's about being able to work within what you know you can do and what you want to be able to do. You don't have to choose one thing and stick to it forever.
Yep.
And that's why even back to the Full Circle podcast, where the wrap, a big part of our vacation was the fact that you brought tarot cards with you. It was fun because you did your solo tarots and then I bothered you to do tarot every day. It was great. And it also helped us make friends because people would see that and be curious about it. And
God.
I know you're a freaking weirdo. I'd go to the club because I didn't want to and I had a headache, but also it's fine. It would have been hilarious. I think that was also brought up like a lot of like connections in community too, because there were people that came up to us and they were like, oh, we saw you yesterday with it, but we wanted to we didn't want to invade, but we wanted to like ask questions. It was cool because I think that there's a lot of, again, back to the stigma of it, like there's a little bit of fear sometimes that you're just like, people are going to judge us for having this as opposed to be curious about it and wanting to do it. It was so validating in that moment, even for me, that people were excited about it and wanting to get into it. And it was like something that we did with every single person we talked to.
Yeah.
It was just really fun. Like we as in like you, but I was just like,
still, you're a piece of that puzzle there, baby.
I was just excited. Yeah, it was great. And it was, that was really special for me too. Because I was just like, it's like a fun activity without having to like play a 3-hour board game that makes you want to die.
Yeah. It's meant to bring people together. I think this was a perfect moment to bring you back for season 6, show the evolution of our life. Maybe we were just trying to push too many episodes. I don't know. Because this episode was pretty fucking great.
I love it. I think it's great. I'm so excited that I missed 3 full seasons. I'm only a little bit furious. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. I've messaged you like at least once a month being I haven't been on the podcast in a while.
How do we leave this one, Jamie? What is our takeaway for humans?
You can find love in a hopeless place.
Can you start singing the song then?
In a hopeless place. In a hopeless place. The way I feel.
We're just gonna end with that.
I love it. You can find love in a lot of different places, and in this current situation where societal norms
Need to be broken because they're shitty.
There's lots of ways to find love and experience love, and love is love.